Welcome to the Travel Agent Podcast. I'm your host, Aylin Blanco. I interview successful industry professionals and share my personal journey to becoming a travel agent. The show is for aspiring travel agents and travel professionals at every level. My mission is to uncover the universal keys to thrive in this business. Join me as I take a closer look into the life of a travel agent. Hello, and welcome to another fabulous episode of the Travel Agent Podcast. Today we have another amazing guest, and I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Hi, I am Brandi Comeaux. I am the founder of Travel Answers by Brandi. I founded the company, it's going to be 5 years in March. And basically what I do is I put together educational travel experiences for homeschooling families, which blossomed into private travel planning. So I do two different types of travel planning, trip planning. Primarily, educational travel is where I focus, but I would say just as much time is spent on private clients because we are very hands-on. So I take a different approach, but the idea is to do the educational travel with homeschoolers. And then usually we'll have homeschooling families who want to take a trip of a lifetime to, say, Peru, and we'll put the trip together for them as well.
Awesome. So I need to know, how did you get started?
So just like with everything I've ever done, I tend to do things backwards. I don't ever start at step one. I usually look at the end goal and figure it out. And that's what happened here. So back in, how long has it been? Probably 16. And so about 7 years ago, I can't do math. We started homeschooling, and I knew that the traditional homeschool lifestyle was not going to work for us. So we wanted to get on the road and do a little bit of traveling, learn about different cultures and diversity, but there were no funds. And so I had the bright idea of reaching out to a travel company that will offer free travel to the leader of a group. Reached out to them and they said, absolutely, if you can get a group together, you and your son will travel free. But in order to be able to travel to New York City, DC, internationally, I needed to attract others who could afford to travel at that level. So I started very small. It was here in South Central Louisiana. We would go to museums and farms. We did a trip to Houston, and it just sort of trickled into, let's do San Antonio, let's go to St. Louis. And that's when I said, I like this, I'm good at it, and now I want to get into the industry. And so I researched becoming an agent and joined an agency 6 months after I started coordinating the travel for homeschoolers. It will be 5 years in March that I started that journey. And it has been amazing because we went from those museums and farms to now we will have visited 15 countries by the end of 2024. And that was
amazing.
International travel, because I knew we couldn't afford to. And if I could travel for free, I was happy. And then I realized I could make money. And I'm on the cusp now of being able to get to a point where I am contributing a large portion of our finances for our family.
That's such a great story. A lot of people don't know, but I also homeschool. So,
yes. Well, hello.
I love your story. I love your story.
We need to meet up. I often tell people, once you go, you're not going back. You're not going back. Nope. Welcome to the dark side.
Right.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit of that process. Since you kind of already started putting these trips together, how has that kind of helped your business by already working with people in the industry and then kind of creating your business?
So, one, I knew what difficulties I was going to have with private clients because I was piecemealing everything together. I was on the phone with the museum coordinator trying to figure out what was the best day to get the most out of a trip, wherever we were visiting. And over time, I grew network, I grew connections, and it became easier. So I started creating a process and documenting how I would find these people or find these places. And then once I became an agent, it was already kind of done for me with suppliers and vendors. So I felt like this is what the answers to everything I was looking for was right at my fingertips. And now I'm at a point where I'm working with other companies to put on the international portion for us. They are on the ground. They're actually in destination. And so I am actually considering going solo and opening my own agency next year. That is the goal.
Oh, wow. So one of the things that I so it is scary, but it's totally doable. And you're already on the right track. So it's going to be fine.
It's what I do. It's what I do.
Right.
I was doing it. I just didn't know it was a thing.
Right. Yeah. Same. Like I totally didn't know that travel agents were still a thing either. Yeah. And it's magical when you kind of find that community. Speaking of community, how did you create this community, finding the people that you want to go on these trips with or planning these trips for?
The first time I was looking to do an overnight trip, it was a camping trip. I figured it would be cost effective. And in Louisiana, we don't have caves, we don't have mountains. And I just Googled unique places in Louisiana to visit. And it said, visit the only cave in Louisiana. And I said, no, that doesn't exist. And technically it is, but it's like a hole in a rock and it takes 2 seconds to get there. But I knew it was going to be an interest and it's cheap. I mean, you're camping, So I started just posting in local Facebook groups and saying, hey, I'm thinking of doing this. Anyone interested? And they said, yes. So I created a Facebook group. The Facebook group at that time was the Louisiana Traveling Homeschoolers. Okay. And so the idea was regional, maybe some people from Texas, Mississippi, even Arkansas. And I would say by the end of 2018, I said, we have to go nationwide. So I started joining Facebook groups for homeschool communities, whether it was based on style or curriculum or even the region, and started promoting the trips in there. And so people saw what I was doing, they were interested, and they would join my group. So we are at almost 11,000 families now. We're right over 10,000. We're closer to 11,000 now. For about 2 years, though, I was not very active because of COVID. I would post things here and there, but we are still steadily growing. And now I have emails and I have text messages I'm working with to start blasting out to people. I have a website. And so the Facebook group grew the community. And then I'm using other resources to stay in touch with them.
I just want to linger on that for a moment because I feel like I keep kind of offering this option of when you pick a niche and you really hone in to the needs of that niche, it makes it a lot easier not only to serve that population, but you're doing the same thing over and over again. So it just makes it easy. So in the last 5 years of serving this particular community, because obviously it's not just those big trips, it's also now those families want you to plan other trips for them. How do you kind of maintain a community of that size and then branch off?
You didn't know I was Superwoman. So the truth is, I learned quickly I needed help. So over time, I'd have someone help with moderating the group. But then I needed someone who was steady. So I've actually hired VAs that are they're in the Philippines. I actually have a team of 4. So I have my first one I brought on in March. I brought on my second one in August. And then I brought in a content and graphic designer in November or October, technically October. So they all have small tasks to keep me on top of things. My first one says, you need to do these things, Brandi. I'm ADHD and I see all these projects and all these things coming at me and I never know which way to go. So she's very good at saying, this week you have to do A, B, and C or the world's going to blow up. So the list is the world will blow up if you don't do this. That way I know it's truly serious. I'll have a moderator for my Facebook group and her job is to add the new member requests, grab their emails, introduce them to the group, engage with them. And then I personally am very interactive in the group. So I'm always asking about something that I'm truly, genuinely excited about. It's not because I need to. It's because I really, truly want to. I recently found a picture of the Christmas markets in Germany. And I said, oh my, look how beautiful this is. And I posted it in the group saying, hey, has anyone ever gone here? And then it's taking off. And that tells me people want to travel to Germany for Christmas. Although we have 2 years planned of travel, that doesn't mean I'm not going to start looking into 2025. Because these families need time to pay for their trips. So to manage it, I have people doing small pieces for me. And the stuff that's really important, me being a part of the brand, I now have time for.
That is brilliant. I feel like a lot of times we think we have to do everything ourselves. And we think that we are super women. And we are, but we don't have to be.
I don't want to be. Nope, not anymore. Maybe when I was 25, but not at 35. No.
So do you have anything really exciting going on that you're really, really excited about for the next couple months or anything going on that is notable?
So a break. I'm taking a break November 15th. I'm not taking any new private clients. I will still be working, but it's going to be planning, organizing, solidifying processes. Because next year, my goal is to focus on partnerships, networking, getting out in front of people. And 2 things, starting the agency, I'm going to transition over to being on my own. I haven't decided just when I'm going to do it, but that's definitely in the works. And then I am partnering. This is super exciting. You gave me the courage when we chatted this summer and I was in the camper sweating or outside sweating in the Florida heat with my little one behind me. We're going to start a podcast. And so we actually have not announced it. So this is the first time anyone's heard this. Same thing with the agency. No one knew about this. But she is a homeschooling mom from Beaumont, Texas, that married an Italian. Her son was born there. They maintain a home there. And they run heritage tours in Calabria, Italy. And so she, I wouldn't say maxed out, but she was ready to branch out to doing other types of travel in that area of Italy. And she reached out to me and we hit it off. So we're doing 15 days of travel to Italy in my group currently to talk about our trip that we're taking to Italy. as a way to introduce the idea of the podcast to our community. It's still in the very early stages, but we both feel really good about it because our energy, when I met her one time in person and I gave her a hug and I felt like I'd known her my entire life. And so I was like, this is the right way to go with it. So I will be starting a podcast, opening my own agency, and hitting 500,000 in revenue next year. That's the goal.
Yes, I am so excited for you. Like, couple points I want to hit on. One, rest is productive. You need a break because that's how you're going to move into the new year, refreshed and ready to take on all of these challenges. Congratulations, and thanks for announcing it on here that you are going to have an amazing $500,000 in revenue.
So I said the podcast, you encouraged me, but you also encouraged me about going solo. So if anyone ever comes at me and says, Brandi, why are you leaving? I'm pointing the finger at you. But
hey, it's time, when it's time, it's time. And having the courage to just do. I think a lot of times we have all of these ideas and we know that we have the capabilities and the systems and just everything that we need, because everything that we need is already in us, right? It's really just the courage. And I feel really honored that you listened to me and knew that you were awesome and that you can do it. So I'm excited to follow your journey. Like,
thank you.
I'm going to be one of your biggest fans. Like, I love the homeschool mom energy.
Yeah, we can do anything.
Yes. Yes, we can. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm just so excited for you. I cannot wait until the new year and to just watch you blossom.
I'm excited too. I would say this is probably the first year since the beginning that I was super excited about the next year. Obviously, COVID, I don't even consider that part of our history in my business because it was just a nightmare. But the first 2 years, I didn't know what I was doing, which direction I was going in. I was just chasing a hotel booking, and now I wouldn't even entertain the idea. So I'm excited too. I'm excited.
It's a journey. And I tell folks, in this business, the first couple of years is just figuring it out. But around 4 and 5, once you figured it out, if you stuck with it, magical things can happen.
And I feel it. I'm not a person to say that I feel the energy in the room or anything, but I truly feel in my gut that next year is going to be where I finally get over that hump. And so that's one of the reasons I'm taking a break so that I can I can't pass up on an opportunity that's going to present itself because I'm not ready.
And just a disclaimer, y'all are listening to this episode that was recorded on my break. So you will be hearing this in the new year.
Well, there you go. My break is starting soon. So.
And mine has been on for a little while and it's going to last a lot longer.
It's all right.
Well, again, thank you so, so much. This was so much fun. I can't wait for everything to happen.
Yes, ma'am. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And hopefully we can do this again when we're both rocking it. Maybe when I hit 1 million,
Yes. And heck, you might, before that, but you might hit 1 million next year.
Like, if I hit 1 million next year, I'm coming to Indiana. And I don't know what we're going to do and how we're going to celebrate, but we will celebrate because I wouldn't know what to do.
I cannot wait.
I feel like I won the Powerball. Yeah.
Yeah. You set your goals too low and I can feel it. Like you can feel it in your gut just talking to you and hearing all the wonderful things that you're doing and partnerships. When you talk about partnerships, and just being an all-around good business owner and doing the right things, it's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yay. Well, have a wonderful rest of your day and make sure that you enjoy your break.
Yes, ma'am. Bye.
thank you for joining the Travel Agent Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. Visit thetravelagentpodcast.com for more information about today's episode and other travel agent resources. Be sure to tune in every Thursday for new episodes. Until next time, continue to build a travel business you love.